Welcome back to Right Answers Mostly, a podcast on what you didn't learn in history class, but really wanted to. I am Tess Palomo.
And I'm Claire Donald. Tess, I was shook to my core when you texted me that you were covering this, and I'm so excited.
I know. I knew that it would shock you. I know that it might shock some of the Rammies, but I did watch Oppenheimer on the plane.
Which is a whole other section on itself that we need to talk about because the film bros are attacking Tess.
Yeah, I was honest about it because I don't want to lie, and I was honest about it on a TikTok, just being like, okay, I finally watched this. I had my hesitations of even wanting to watch this movie when it was like up against Barbie, and that's a whole another story that like
Premium Rammies know though.
Yeah, we don't have the time, but you guys know it was like an emotional summer for me, and I kind of had resentment towards this film. And then I was on an 11-hour flight back from Europe, and I was like, well, now is the time to watch a Christopher Nolan 3.5-hour movie, which I know it was made for fucking IMAX, you guys. I know. Okay.
The film bros got so upset when Tess said that on TikTok, and it's like, people are dying, Kim.
People are dying, and aren't you just happy that people are watching it? Like, my God.
No, they're not. They're not happy about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
No.
But I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed the film. And then, of course, was like Googling on the plane, like, what is an atomic bomb? How many atomic bombs have we dropped? All of the things. And I was like, I'm going to wait till I get back home. And then I texted Claire and I was like, I'm doing it, Claire. I'm covering our baby Oppenheimer.
And Tess is now on a list somewhere because of what she was Googling on a plane. I was also Googling Pearl Harbor and the atomic bomb on my flight back from Montreal after you told me this was happening. So if we're going down, we're going down together.
Exactly. And that is friendship and that is codependency.
Really? Yeah, at its finest, at its finest. We also have such a journey with this movie because remember when it first came out, the girls, us gals would get together and we're like, we're going to watch Oppenheimer. And we would sit and talk for 3 hours. They're like, should we watch the movie? And they're like, no.
We watched a rom-com the night that we were planning on watching Oppenheimer. Was it Prime with Uma Thurman?
It was Prime. Mm-hmm. And both influential in different ways.
I really was just fascinated by this man. I was fascinated by his inner turmoil and what happened to him after he did this huge, grand innovation for the United States and then how he was treated after. And I just was like, I think it is something that is very Ram-coded in so many ways. But I'm curious if you have any thoughts about him or, what he did.
Well, if you're not new here, you know that I've been on my Peaky Blinders journey. And Cillian Thomas Shelby, he is also Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy. So while I know that he's not actually Oppenheimer, this episode makes me feel very close to my baby. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I knew that you'd feel that way too. I was like, it's on her mind. He's in our sphere.
In our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he had some palm tap inner turmoil from all this.
You could say that, Claire. And God, who wouldn't? Shall we get into our baby Oppenheimer? And that's what I will be referring to him as.
Of course, he is our baby Oppenheimer from here on out.
Sometimes he is baby girl. Sometimes he is. Like,
Yeah.
Did he
have buccal fat removal?
No, he was just very, very thin.
Okay. He did it all natural.
The man was stressed the fuck out. But, he maybe started the buccal fat removal trend. I mean...
Well, I have heard that when people are going into the doctor's office, they are bringing him as a reference photo.
Really?
No.
Oh, I was like...
I can't believe you really thought that was for real. No. But they could be now.
Claire, nothing would surprise me anymore. Okay. So Julius Robert Oppenheimer was born. I know he was born in 1904 in New York. Can you guess his sign? And it is actually very funny to me.
Is it a fire sign?
No.
Oh. Is he Aquarius?
No, he is very close. He's close to my heart. He's
a Taurus.
He is a Taurus, which I was like my Taurus brother. It kind of made sense to me of just like very passionate, like stubborn and forthright, but then also has that sort of sensitivity and the empath quality where it's like, I really want to do this and I want to say this, but God, I kind of feel bad for it. I was like, do I relate to Oppenheimer? Do I relate to his journey?
I mean, I feel like this is the beauty of the show is that you find connections in ways that you never thought you would.
So he was born into a wealthy secular Jewish family in New York City and educated at Manhattan's Ethical Culture School. He graduated in 2021 and no, 1921. And although his parents were first and second generation Americans of German descent, Oppenheimer refrained from embracing his heritage for much of his life. And this is very interesting because his Jewishness and his heritage relates to this whole entire process and the war and the bomb and the guilt, all of it. So important to note, Ray Monk, who's the author of Robert Oppenheimer, A Life Inside the Center, said, quote, "To the outside world, he was always known as a German Jew, and he always insisted that he was neither German nor Jewish, but affected his relationship with the world and how he was perceived."
And so he is just adamantly like not embracing his culture at all.
No, not at all. However, anti-Semitism impacted him throughout his time. He goes to Harvard, no surprise there. He is a smart little kiddo. And later, amid the Nazis' rise into power in Germany, it just changed the way that he engaged with his Jewishness. He said, quote, "I had a continuing
Smoldering, yeah.
yeah, that's how you say it. Yeah, fury about the treatment of Jews in Germany. I had relatives there and was later there to help in bringing them to this country." So a lot of, a lot of guilt and a lot of like trying to distance himself from it. But like, how could you when World War II was happening? So he graduates from Harvard in 1925, top of his class. I say this every time, summa cum laude? Summa cum laude?
We have gotten in trouble for this before.
I know, guys, every time you write us, summa
Cum laude.
cum laude. Shaking.
It's just noises.
Guys, he's smart as hell, okay?
Of course.
And just imagine him, I think he was one of those kids that was like real smart, a little mysterious, hard to get to know, and like intimidating by, like his mind was intimidating.
Was he socially involved at all? Do you know?
Like socially, like was he like partying at
Was
Harvard?
was it cool?
I mean, God, it's hard to say because I think he was such an introvert, but he also liked to drink. He loved to smoke and he liked women. Okay.
I mean, he's just a man.
So I imagine that like he was probably picky with like the parties that he chose to go to. And when he did, they were like, "Oh God, there's Oppenheimer. There he is," like the
Yeah.
presence.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, we're talking about Cillian Murphy here, so
Just imagine. I mean, but God, the casting is good. Like you guys always look at our carousel at Right Answers Mostly. You will see that the casting for the whole movie, I was like, damn. And they got such good actors that actually look, except Florence Pugh. But I understand why they wanted to cast her. I mean, like, God, what a sexy little thing.
Who wouldn't?
And we will talk about who she played in a moment. So he graduates and then he travels to England immediately to conduct research at the University of Cambridge laboratory. So he studied under this British physicist and 1906 Nobel Prize winner by the name of J.J. Thomson. And people were like, look at this man. Like he's getting up there. He's rising very quickly. But during this time, he really was struggling with some anxiety, lack of sleep. Like I think he was a very serious insomniac and mental health issues, and he ended up on probation.
For what?
So, rumor has it he tried to poison one of his professor there. And you know
what?
how? You know how?
How?
He was in the lab and he was pissed off. He was going through it. He didn't like the professor. The professor leaves, and because he's in the lab, he has access to cyanide, which is like poison. And he puts it in a syringe and then injects the professor's apple with it.
Sweetheart. Okay. So this is where therapy would be like really key.
100%. And look, have we all had those thoughts, when you're angry at a teacher for giving you a bad grade or for hating you for no reason, like my dance professor in college? But it's called self-control, and it's called,
working it out through healthier ways.
Working it out. In the movie, it shows the next day that like he comes to class and he like looks at the apple and he's like, "Oh God." And then someone else, like another member of the faculty, comes in and picks up the apple and it like shakes him out of it. And then I forget what he says. He like takes it and he's like, "Oh, it's like no good anymore," and freaks out. So like no one ends up dying from this, but like he tried.
Well, he does something really crazy later on. So maybe they're also like showing that he is capable of darkness.
That's a great point, Claire. That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, like, Yeah. He's going
Yeah.
he's going through it. He writes to a friend in a letter, "I'm having a pretty bad time. The lab work is a terrible bore, and I'm so bad at it that it's impossible to feel like I'm even learning anything. Plus, the lectures are vile."
Tess, I like completely understand why you've been connecting with him because the anxiety, hating lab work, it's really, I also am feeling very connected to Oppie.
So, also during this time, like I kind of said, he's a fuckboy, okay? He has a reputation for being promiscuous, for being a womanizer. I think he was literally like, "I'll give you a little slice of myself, and it is just gonna make these women want more and more and more." And they would just like yearn for him. But but he was like, he was avoidant.
Oh, well, and there it is, Tess. And that's why women wanted him so bad to have this like smart, sexy man who's avoidant. Come on.
Oh my God. And just like a genius, you know? And so I
Yeah.
think like all these women were like, oh, even to like be in his presence. So he's dealing with his mental health issues. He's like, I need to maybe leave this place. Like the place just wasn't good for him. It was just a bad chapter in his life. He doesn't like University of Cambridge, you know?
So long, London.
So long London.
Yeah.
So he's like, I got to go to Germany. I got to get out of here. I need a change of pace. So he's transferred to the University of Göttingen in Germany, where he earned his PhD in quantum physics. Okay. We're going to be talking about quantum physics because it's like new age, new physics of the time. People aren't like,
Yeah.
people aren't comfortable with it quite yet.
Well, these are sentences I never thought that I would hear on Ram.
Believe me, Claire, I never thought that I'd be researching this. Okay.
But okay, also just to put it timing, we're in the early 20s.
Yes, we were in like 1926, I believe, right now.
So we're past what they call the Great War.
Oh, yeah. Wait, what is the Great War again?
The Great War is World War One, and we are just not acknowledging World War One enough. We're not
Wait.
talking about it.
Oh, that's the same war?
Honey, it is the same war because they were like, it's the Great War. Nothing like this will ever happen
Oh.
again. Cut to what
Cut
we're
to
about to
World-
talk about.
Cut to World War II. I mean, is it a shame? Should I feel ashamed that I think of a Taylor Swift song?
You know, we all have to process these things in our own ways. We really do.
Thank you. Thank you for the for no judgment there.
Mhm.
So he is like, quantum physics is my baby. Like he is like very passionate about it, and he is studying in Germany at this time with a number of prominent physicists, including Max Born, the science girlies will know. And okay, so you watch. Well, let me ask you this. He is also studying with Heisenberg. Does that remind you of a show in our lives?
Well, it reminds me of Breaking Bad.
That's why that was his, like, that's why he had that name, because
my
he was like,
God.
I want to be under a like famous scientist.
Wow.
So like, to put quantum physics into perspective of like what people felt about it at the time, at this time, it's almost like some Republicans and MAGA not believing in global warming.
Oh, okay, I see.
And so it came over to America, and people were like, no, we just focus primarily on like applied and experimental physics, which was focused on like engineering problems, industrial applications. And then Europe was like, honey, we've been doing this for years. And so when Oppenheimer brought it, like made it become popular in the States, he had like a very intense following of students that were like, he is going to change the world. And so like he was so early on that although it was like, why we talk about quantum physics, people were like, guys, like if you're in on this, we're all gonna like benefit from it. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is quantum physics?
Quantum physics, that's a great question, Claire. Quantum physics, I think, is like, it's the study of matter and energy at the most fundamental level, describing the behaviors of atoms, particles, and forces they interact with. So yeah, he's studying matter. He's just obsessed with space. So good God, even like when he's writing everything out in the like on the chalkboard in the movie, you're just like, people's brains, crazy. Could we do that about an episode of Housewives and break it down like that? Absolutely.
And I think both are valuable. Okay. And also, if people are mad that we don't know all of this, like our brains just work in different ways. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, we are the creative minds, you know?
We lean into the creativity.
We do. Duality. So everyone's like, holy shit, this is so like new and crazy, but like he's onto something. So he had a group of fans, like people literally were like rushing into his classes and like making sure that like they could even meet with him and talk to him. Like he was kind of like a local celebrity at this time.
And he really just were bringing quantum physics over. Okay.
Yes. And kind of like rejecting, I mean, he was just like, I think he was not like argumentative, but he like loved it like a debate. And I think he was always trying to push physicists into a new way of thinking, which is
Yeah.
like, needs to happen. However, he has some ties, which we will see follow him for the rest of his life, to the Communist Party.
Okay.
Which, how do you think people react to that at this point?
Not well, bitch. I mean, if you were like even slightly progressive back then, they called you a communist.
So I looked it up, Claire, because I was like, wait, what is like, there's so much controversy about him being a communist. And I was like, what does that mean? It was founded in 1919, and it was inspired by the Russian Revolution and the rise of the Soviet Union. At its height, which was in the 1930s, early 40s, there was like 75 to 80,000 people. And it wasn't like the Democratic or Republican Party, but it did have this like influence in labor unions, civil rights group, and like intellectuals. So a lot of people that were like artists and scientists kind of related to the ideas of the Communist Party. And they were like, okay, well, they're kind of talking about promises of like equality, racial justice, workers' rights. A lot of Black activists were engaged with it. So like he felt a kinship with the
Yeah.
party.
Well, remember our top communist, maybe the most famous communist that we've covered, Frida.
That's right, our baby Frida.
Our baby Frida she was like true communist. Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so how he kind of was like, I'm interested in the Communist Party was by a woman.
Oh, wow.
A woman's influence that was like, fuck everything, fuck this country, fuck the war, come over to the other side. And this was the woman that Florence Pugh plays in the movie.
Okay. But like Florence Pugh seems a lot younger than Cillian Murphy. Is that just movies or is that like, was this woman younger than Oppenheimer?
This woman was a lot younger than him, Claire. That is So he's doing this work in Germany. Then in 1929, he returns to America and he creates this program at Berkeley. And now Berkeley is regarded as like one of the best schools in the world for physics. And he was the one who like put on the map.
Oh, wow. He put Berkeley on the map for physics.
He put Berkeley on the map, and then while he's there, he enters into quite the tumultuous relationship with Stanford medical student and Communist Party member Jean Tacklock, who Florence Pugh plays.
Okay. That's where he meets her then. Oh, she's smart too.
She's very, very smart. So she was 22 and he was 32 when they get it going.
Okay. All right.
And she's like, okay, I mean, I also made a TikTok about how Christopher Nolan portrays women in his movies, which you guys, like, everyone came for me being like, well, this is based on a true story. It's like, that doesn't matter. It's based on true characters. You can also like, because does it show that she's a genius Stanford medical student in the movie? No, it doesn't. She's naked the whole time. And they're pretty intense sex scenes, which like, great. Love a good sex scene. Nothing wrong with that. But it also doesn't talk about how like she was a genius and it does talk about how she was kind of inspired him to not officially join the Communist Party, but like influence ideas. But they were on and off for years. Even when he was with his wife, Kitty.
Is Kitty Emily Blunt?
Kitty is Emily Blunt. Yes, Kitty.
Okay. Kitty, got it.
Yes. So basically, him and Kitty meet at a party, and she's married. And they really like bond over science because she was an American biologist, botanist. Botanist like studies plants, right?
Is it a botanist?
Is it botanist?
I think it might be botanist.
Botanist. Okay, so she's studying plants and biology and all of the things. And they have like a very intense relationship, very fueled by like how smart they both were.
Of course. They match each other's freak.
They match each other's freak. They get pregnant very quickly, and then they're like, shoot. She's like, I need to get a divorce real quick.
I need to take care of a few things.
Need to take care of a few things back at the home. And he's like, I also got to take care of a few things. And he like goes to Jean and he's like, oh God, I got to get married. And the film kind of portrays it that like he gets his like sexual, like fantasies with Jean. And then
Yeah.
with Kitty, he's like, we're more like partners. She also really struggled with alcoholism, Kitty.
Kitty did? Oh, that's tough.
And Jean was really struggling with her mental health and ends up dying by suicide, actually. And Oppenheimer had a lot of guilt about this of like, was it because I got married and had a child with Kitty? So he kind
Mm.
of was always like between these two women and never like really forgave himself for Jean's death.
Do you know if Jean and Kitty knew about each other?
They
Yeah,
did.
I'm sure they knew. Women always know.
Well, I'm like, okay, I'll save this to the end because
Okay.
I was like, oof, my God, like the way that like Kitty has always had to talk about Jean and had
Oh.
to listen to other people talk about her, ask him questions because it has to do a lot with like the end of his life is crazy. And that actually, Claire, might be a good place to take a little break because when we get back, we are going to talk about the start of the Manhattan Project, which is also known as the start of
The atomic
making
bomb.
the atomic bomb. You guys know, you knew it was coming, and we'll be
Sorry, I got
back.
excited.
Okay, we're back. We're going to talk about the bomb.
It's like, your neighbors hear you? Like, what?
They're always like, I think they're true. Like, what does she do for work?
I mean, same. I was playing my harmonica last night at like 10 p.m. and I was like, they are not going to be happy with me.
We love that. She's working her mind, you guys. She's exercising her mind.
Me and Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer and me.
Literally.
That's going to be the title of my memoir, by the way.
Oppenheimer and me. Oh, man, that's
Oh.
good. Okay, we're going to skip to about early 1940s. So in 1942, Oppenheimer, because of, he's smart, he's the talk of the town, he's hot, all of the above, he is recruited for this thing called the Manhattan Project, which was the United States government's secret World War II undertaking to build an atomic bomb. So, Matt Damon plays, if you can just like, I'm going to be using these men so you can get a little visual.
Yeah, it's just so Graham.
It's so Ram.
Yeah.
Matt Damon plays General Leslie Groves, and he's like this military bro that's like, dude, we need to find Oppenheimer, and he should be the scientific director of the program because like he's the one that like is going to oversee all of this. And Oppenheimer's like, okay. He's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. But we need to like obviously take this very seriously. And he's like, we need to go. I mean, because it's like, it's secret, right?
Right.
Because like in a second, we'll talk about like the need to make this bomb and what other countries were doing and all of that. It is World War II. But he's like, we need to build like a town where like we have a lab, we're building this thing. Clearance needs to be very, very sensitive. Security needs to be high. We need to bring like our families in. And if we have kids, and so that means we need to create like a school, a church, a bar. So they create this town because they build this bomb for the next 3 years, Claire.
I'm like shocked it doesn't take longer, but time's a ticking.
Time is a ticking. And even like the general, whatever his name is, Leslie Groves, Leslie. Leslie is like, let's do it in, I think he first says a year. And Oppenheimer's like, oh, sweetheart. Like, that's cute that you think that. And so they're trying to like negotiate. And Oppenheimer's like, even 3 is pushing it. Like, we probably would need double that time, but time is ticking. The world is falling apart. And so they get going. Oppenheimer had like a kinship with New Mexico because his brother and him used to like play there or something.
Everyone's like, sure, just give it to him.
They're like, as long as there's a bar in this town. And they literally did. And it's really funny when they're saying all the things that they need to make. Cause like one of the first things is they're like a church, but a bar, have the local bar.
Of course. I mean, they know it's important.
Of course. And so all of these scientists relocate to New Mexico with their families. And thus it begins. But I was just like, how do you even start such a process? So basically what I got is that to make the atomic bomb, it combined basic theoretical physics, experimental labs, large-scale industrial production for fissile material. I guess you need fissile.
I don't even know what fissile is.
Me either. Engineering to build delivery devices and a final full-scale test, of course, right? Because you got to test it
Well, and that's the thing. And also it's like, okay, so we've had bombs, but now it needs to be atomic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had the little guys, and even those have been very, very scary, very destructive, and this is, like, unlike anything that the world has seen.
Have we ever tried talking it out?
Doesn't seem like historically we have, Claire. So they're like, okay, we got to produce this fissile material at industrial scale. Let's go. We got to design the weapon. We got to solve engineering problems. We got to test it. We got to set it off. And on top of that, security, safety, materials are so hard to get because, of course, we're in a war. But they do this all in 3 years. And Claire, why do you think the US feels the need to make this?
Because they know that other people are making it. And we're like, we have to be number one. We have to be the best. I mean, also, look what we end up doing. Look what you made me do. So if that were to happen to us, they knew.
Right. It's almost like, yeah.
I'm like, it's so insensitive. Yeah, it is. I'm
Well,
not going to say it.
I think I might know it. I think I might know what you're going to say.
The U.S. is just like, look what you made me do.
Well, I thought you were going to say I got a list of names and years.
Nathan Yearson right under, like, well, of course, after Pearl Harbor.
But guys, they literally, they did. And the whole world did. I mean, we were all fighting each other. It was crazy.
It was scary.
I really had to be reminded of who were the allies, what was going on. I mean, there's so much, and just bear with me, you guys, as we're just going to go through a little bit of what was the need for the race. So obviously the fear was that Nazi Germany was developing the atomic bomb. And as we talked about before with Oppenheimer, he felt a personal responsibility because of him being Jewish and him having family there, that once he kind of thought about that, he was like, oh, it's fucking on. And if I can help what's going on in Germany and what's happening to Jewish people over there, then I'm going to get on this.
Yeah, because I'm sure he was briefed in everything that was actually happening. Because for so long, America didn't understand the magnitude of what was happening in Europe.
Yeah, because we didn't even get involved till the very end, right?
Well, until Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, and then we were like, all right, well, now we have to.
Right.
But a lot of people, I think that American civilians just did not realize, again, the magnitude of what was going on with the Holocaust and everything.
Well, yeah, guys, it's it's hard to remember that when right now we see everything and know everything and kind of can't get away from it. But this was in the 40s, you know? There was no Instagram, there was no news. So yeah, I do think that he was briefed, and I think he was like, oh shit. And I think, he was talking to the president and everything. And it was like, by the way, if we don't do this now, we are going to get bombed. And so God, it's hard. It's a hard position to be in. It's hard to, of course, we know that he had conflicted feelings about it. And I can see why.
Because was he basically told, we need you to make a weapon of mass destruction?
Yeah, they were like, whatever you think is big, make it bigger.
Yeah, okay.
And he was like, okay. He's like, I kind of know how to do this, which is wild.
Yeah.
And they're building this thing, and what's interesting too is that he's friends with my God, what's his name? Einstein.
I know, because Ride the podcast has this whole bit that it's crazy. I picture Einstein in the 1800s, but what are you doing here, Einstein?
Have you ever seen those TikToks that are things in history that make you very aware of timelines? And it's Einstein was alive when,
well, MLK and Anne Frank were the same age, I believe.
Those things are just crazy. Because I also thought, when I saw Einstein in the movie, I was like, what the hell are you doing here? I thought that you were dead as could be at this point. And no.
Really? Which we have also had a suggestion to do Einstein.
And so he's talking to Einstein, and he's like, dude, what the hell do you think about this? And Einstein is like, I understand your predicament. It's war, emotions are heightened. However, there is the small chance that you could blow up the entire world
by
doing this. Because, and guys, once again, this is a science podcast, but they had a fear that there would be a chain reaction.
Sorry, she's laughing because I started brushing my hair. I'm just nervous. It's just it's a lot to take in.
So they were we're nervous that there is going to be a chain reaction, that once it's basically in the atmosphere is endless so that like it would not end. Like it would transfer throughout the entire planet and we would blow up the world.
Of
So
course.
Oppenheimer's like, I hear you. I am scared of that too. And I don't actually know how to do that calculation. But he brings in all of these like amazing, amazing scientists, these like students of his that know about how to do those like calculations, of course, by hand, you guys. Like there's no calculators. And so he is running these tests, and all of these guys are like, sir, we think that it is a 0.001% chance, I think that they said, that that could happen. And Oppenheimer's like, so we kind of need it down to zero. Like, we just need to know that, like, there is not even a little bit that, like, this could just blow up, our entire universe. And they're like, we can't get that, but we, like, really, really don't think that it's going to happen. I mean, it's less than 1%. So, like, it's not going to happen. And so they're like, okay, let's just keep going on with it. And so they do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so they do. So the test. It is time. The atomic bomb has been built. He, it, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, the atomic bomb.
I mean, I would say male.
He's ready to go.
Yeah.
He is ready to go. And so after 3 years of working on this, the world's first nuclear weapon test, which was dubbed the Trinity test, took place where they had been working in the desert on July 16th, 1945. And of course, to make sure that all of them would be safe to do this. I mean, it was crazy. I think they set it off, I believe, 3 miles away from where they would watch it. So like which honestly doesn't seem like that much.
No. Also, I'm just like, I can't, the anxiety that day. He already had anxiety problems.
The anxiety. And so they also were fighting against Mother Nature because they had this whole plan. And then it starts raining and it's thunder and it's lightning for days. And so all of their team and the scientists and military guys are up for days, like in this campsite, just waiting for the rain to end, being like, when can we test this thing? And everyone's getting more nervous. Doubts are arising, all of that. But, and like to prepare too, like, so they are aware of like, which we're going to talk about in a second, what happens after a bomb goes off in terms
Well,
of like
yeah.
effects. And so they're aware of it. And that's why they're like, they're running all these numbers. They're like, okay, we have to be 3 miles away so that we're safe. We have to wear these goggles to look through it. We need to put sunscreen on our faces. Like, and so they are all like, they know
Uh-huh.
the effects.
I would not even think about sunscreen. That's crazy.
I
Be
know.
3 miles away and you're still going to get burnt?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So they do the test. The test was successful in proving that the bomb worked, but it caused just this one test in this desert decades and decades of immense harm to indigenous people living
Ugh.
around the area. And isn't this just like so America?
It's so American. And they're like, we're doing this for our cause and so that we can be on top. And if we demolish the people who have been here forever in the process, whatever.
And
It's
also
disgusting.
they were on their land for 3 years doing this, and after, I believe, Oppenheimer was like, okay, let's close up shop, like let's give this back to the people that live here and own this land. And the US government was like, nope, it's ours now. We're just gonna like keep this like a lab that we can use whenever.
Trash, 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 not for us. I just continue to be disappointed by American history.
Same.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what an atomic bomb does besides just the explosion and the after effects. So immediate effects are blast and shockwave. Of course, it creates an intense shockwave that destroys buildings and infrastructure, causing injuries with like flying debris and collapsing structures. There is thermal radiation. A massive burst of heat and light, known as the thermal pulse, causes severe burns and fires literally in everything in its path. There is initial radiation, which is a brief but intense burst of ionizing radiation from gamma rays and neutrons is released during the explosion itself. Short to medium term effects, acute radiation sickness. So people that experience it will have a loss of hair, vomiting, diarrhea, fever.
This is like so much more evil than I initially thought because I don't know. I thought that it was just like such a big deal because it was just a huge bomb, but like they're creating specifics and like layers and details to it to make sure that people like die a horrible death.
They yeah, I mean, like, there is no way there's not, like, a way that they can make this bomb, like, they're not like, "Oh, and let's also we want people to lose their hair," and, like but there is no way that they can't have these effects with a bomb. Like, a bomb, it just does this itself.
But are they making sure that like this gas is released and that it has a certain number of shock waves and stuff?
They're not, like, making sure of it, but that's just what it
It's
has.
just like, but that's like the atomic bomb. Like that's
That
what makes it different than a bomb.
Yes, that it is just, like, mass destruction and so dangerous and so I guess I'm trying to say they're not programming it to have these things. They're not like, "And once it goes, then these rays will," like, it just they know that that is the power of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so, yeah, it is and even, like, them putting on sunscreen for the test and looking at through they fucking know, like, when that is dropped, they understand that people are not gonna be prepared for that and what is gonna happen.
I mean,
So
yeah, that's the whole point of this.
it's really, really tough, and guys, just bear with me as we go through a little bit more of the effects because, like, I think it is important to know just the devastation that anyone even in surrounding areas would experience when this went off and then will experience for the rest of their life if they even survived. Um, there's burn and injury complications. Many people died just in weeks following the bombing with untreated burns, injuries, complicated by malnutrition and lowered resistance to pathogens. There's radioactive fallout, a cloud of dust and debris, highly radioactive, settles on the surrounding areas, exposing people to radiation for weeks to months to years afterwards. And long term effects are cancer rates, genetic and reproductive damage, mental health issues, and environmental contamination.
Yeah, I'm also just like, how do you even survive like the initial blood? It's just crazy.
It's so crazy, and I think, like, I knew about, like, radiation poisoning and all of that, but I needed just to do more research of, like, so what are the short, medium, long-term effects? Because, like, I mean, people's lives in Japan were and, I mean, it still is, people are still affected by this today.
And what's just so scary about the world that we live in is that they are also making this because they know that other people are trying to make this to use against us. Like, it's just such a really horrifying world.
That's a great way to put it, Claire, it's absolutely horrifying. So there's obviously awareness that Oppenheimer has about once this is completed and the test goes off, he's proud of himself. There is pride and there is like, we did this. I've been working relentlessly. I just created a scientific masterpiece. And
Hmm.
then once it's done, literally the US government, comes to New Mexico. They're like, "Hey, Oppenheimer." They're like, "Put the bomb in the truck and thank you so much for everything. We're going to talk to you later, okay?" And he was like, "Wait, wait, wait." Like he was like, "Am I like no longer involved in this process? Like what are you going to do with it? Who are you going to drop?" Like he wasn't as filled in as you may have thought of
So
like
they didn't tell him, like, we have these plans.
I think it was known of like I think he maybe could have guessed what they were gonna do with it, but no, he wasn't being briefed on then, like, the military and the government to proceed with the bomb. Like, I think he was a little bit more like I think he knew that they were gonna use it.
Yeah, of course. He knew the general, but he didn't know specifics on what their plan was.
Exactly. So, he kind of felt like a little I mean, god, the adrenaline crash, can you imagine? And then just, like, feeling like he's kind of not part of this thing anymore. And the US was just like, "You did what you had to do, like, dude, calm down, like, bye, we're kind of parting ways now." And 3 weeks later, on August 6th and August 9th, the United States detonated 2 atomic bombs over the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, ending the war. The bombings together killed between an estimated 110 to 210,000 people, most who were civilians.
Innocent civilians. What were the bombs' names again? Wasn't one Little Brother?
I didn't write that down. I don't know what their names were.
Not Little Brother, Little Boy, and Fat Man. were the names that they gave to them. So they
Wow.
were literally male.
So they were male. And,
Yeah.
doesn't that just say so much?
I also think that I saw something that they dropped the first atomic bomb and then they told like the civilians that had survived in Japan, like, hey, if you get your government to back down, we won't drop another one, but that's like on you guys.
It was just so, like, there's not really words for it. Like, yeah, guy, 200,000 innocent civilians. Like,
It's hard to conceptualize like what that even means. And because it was so long ago, like we're not seeing it in our face, which honestly just makes us desensitized to it now. It's just hard to grasp.
it is hard to grasp. It's like hard to grasp what was going on in general at that time with obviously World War II. Like, there was so much devastation and obviously inhumane. Like, it was just an inhumane time. Like, and people criticize the movie that like there's not enough attention on like the devastation of what Japan experienced, but the movie did focus on him
Mhm.
and his inner turmoil after, and also like following the war, what the public opinion was, and the public opinion of the atomic bomb wavered. Like, I think some people were like, it ended the war and at least we're safe. And other people were like, yeah, hundreds of thousands of civilians just died. And like, that's not fair.
Right. Right.
So he visits the White House, October 1945, and he is shaken up. And at the time, the president is Truman.
Okay.
And he tells President Truman, Mr. President, I feel like I have blood on my hands. And Truman's like, dude, calm down. Like, relax. The war is over. Like, you need to, like, let this go. And he was like, he was having visions and, like, he was going through it.
I mean, I just can't imagine seeing that and being like, I did that. I created
I
that.
invented this thing. Like,
Yeah.
God, and, people are stopping him on the streets and cheering and hugging him. And he's going to, like, conferences and stuff. And people are just, the patriotism in the country was very loud. And, like, it was like, we did this and we are the best. And of course, all of that. And
Mhm.
he was like, it feels weird to have people coming up and kissing me and hugging me and saying thank you.
Like, even though the war is over now and that we are safe, like, war is not something to be celebrated.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Not that it matters, but did he get paid a lot of money for this? Do you know?
He was definitely paid for his
Yeah.
time. I think he was probably compensated pretty well. It was 3
Yeah.
years. He was running the whole thing. But this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
So he is hailed as like this national hero by many. In 1946, he's awarded a Medal for Merit. But then he becomes a little bit more vocal about being like, I kind of feel bad. And I think that basically, like, every time he is it like he's in public about it, he's kind of like, I think that we need to look at this like very practically and like, he basically was just like, we gotta be careful. And we also
Yeah.
can't be like bragging so much and like kind of being like reckless about like, yeah, we're the best because like other people are probably starting to build the goddamn same thing. Okay. So let's just like zip it.
Well, exactly. Oh, wow. Exactly, Tess. Also, it's like this is so important of like history is told through the victors, but it's like we need to be responsible in the way that we're telling it. And we're not very good at that.
Exactly. Nobody likes a little victory lap. But like, no, no, no. Like, it's not a cute look. So he basically was just saying that. He's like, let's stop. And then other scientists, some that he even worked with, in New Mexico, this scientist named Edward Teller is like, look, guys, he's like, he goes to the White House and he's like, I'm developing the super bomb.
Oh my God.
And he's like, it's like an atomic bomb on steroids, and it is going to be bigger and better than ever. And now that we have this, no one's ever going to come for us, and like bragging and getting really excited. And Oppenheimer publicly speaks out and it's like, I do not support this. I don't think that we should do this. There's no reason to have anything more powerful than the atomic bomb. Um, and how do you think the United States reacts to Oppenheimer saying that?
Hey, why don't you just shut it? Why don't you zip it, Oppenheimer?
They're like, "Why don't you zip it?" And then you know what else they say, Claire?
What?
They're like, "You are a communist."
Oh my God. Of course. I'm so pissed right now. I'm so annoyed.
In November of 1953, William Liscombe Borden, who was a close confidant of this guy Strauss, who like hated Oppenheimer, he was part of the General Advisory Committee, which like
Oversaw.
oversaw um how bombs were made and stuff. They got together and they were like, let's set him up and let's say that we think that Oppenheimer is an agent of the Soviet Union.
I'm so like literally he did exactly what you guys wanted. It's so troubling.
And you know what's crazy is that they knew his tie. They knew before they asked him to build and to make the atomic bomb. They were very aware that he dated someone that was in the Communist Party, that he had a lot of friends in the Communist Party, that his brother was in the Communist Party. And they said, we'll deal with this later, but let's just use him for his mind and then probably attack him later. This was all a plan.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't care when they needed him to build this.
Well, of course. And then the second that he's not going with the exact narrative that they want, they're like, oh, okay, now we know what to do.
Exactly. So they write this letter to FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover.
He's the one who created it.
Isn't that who Leo played?
No, in Killers of Flower Moon.
No, he was in that movie J. Edgar.
Oh, I actually, I'm not familiar with that movie, Tess, so I would trust you.
It was it was 2010, I believe. Yeah.
The year was 2010. I was just thinking today because our FBI director has been in the public eye a lot. I thought we should do the history of the FBI.
They send a letter to J. Edgar suggesting that he's an agent of the Soviet Union. The letter was passed on to President Eisenhower, and Oppenheimer was informed that his security clearance, because like you have if you do something like this, you are promised, let's say, by the US government, like, we got you because people will come for you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
your life is at risk. So he was promised clearance, and then they were like, actually, your clearance is no longer.
What is wrong with everyone? It's just so crazy.
He has this long journey of not it's not like it's a hearing of some sort, right? It's like he has to sit down in front of a panel of these men that all believe and will not change their mind. And they know that before going in. They said, he is a communist. We are not going to support this man. We're not going to give him hearings. And then they call in all of the scientists that worked with him for the Manhattan Project. Many of them say, well, actually, yeah, he kind of always had some like anti-American beliefs. And a lot of people, Claire, that worked for him, that idolized him, do not stand up for him.
I mean, did this man not make an atomic bomb to protect America? Like, I don't know. What more could you guys want from him?
It's just it is very sad. And it's like, unfortunately, like a huge part of his story and like the end of his career is really this of like having people come in and he's in these rooms and he's looking at his so-called friends. Okay. And literally being like, oh, noted. Like, wow, thank you for saying that you don't trust me, that you actually think I'm a spy, that you don't think I'm patriotic. Like, thank you so much. And he's being questioned. His wife, Kitty, is behind him the whole time. And he does have to talk about his relationship with Jean because she was a very active and vocal member of the Communist Party. And so they had to be like, did you see her this night? Did you see her this year? Did you talk about this? And he is just like, yep, yep, yep. And Kitty is like, I knew. And she's like, I already knew this, but like there's such tension between them. Like she's like to have to hear these stories over and over again.
Well, that's humiliating for her too. That's like torture for both of them. Also, like this whole thing is a witch hunt.
Exactly. And that's actually what Kitty says to him. She's like, you know that like, why even keep showing up every day? They're going to take away your clearance. They're going to say that you're a spy. They're going to, like, why are we doing this? And who knows if she said like this line or not, but it's in the movie where she's like, I feel like you go in there every day and you're just like, beat me up because of your own guilt. And you think that that's going to help you feel better about what you did to Japan.
Wow. That just hit me.
It's really intense. Like, and I'm sure that in a way he was like, yeah, like maybe I deserve this. I deserve to be attacked and I deserve to have all of my so-called friends say, yeah, he's not a good guy. Like it's almost like when it's what's it called when you hate yourself when like you're doing active things to hate yourself?
Um, that's not self-deprecating.
It's like it's
Oh, you guys are probably yelling it at home. What
uh
is it?
you guys know what we're talking about.
You're
Like
like beating yourself up.
like a masochist? Is that what it is?
That's like enjoying punishment, but
Well, like
kind of.
in a way, he's like, "Just keep giving it to me." So, yeah, it was a witch hunt. They knew the whole time, and you know who plays one of the guys is, Tony Goldwyn,
Ah, the king.
a king. I mean, guys, we love our, we love our scandal. But yeah, they're all assholes, and it's really, really hard. Matt Damon's character, the general, comes in, and he's actually, like, one of the only guys, surprisingly, that stands up for him. And they do ask him, they're like, would you trust him now? Like, would you trust him in US government? Because they're trying to figure out the security clearance. And he's like, no. And then he's like, that has nothing to do with him. He's like, we all were doing crazy things in New Mexico. Like, none of us should have been trusted. Like, we all were out on our own on this fucking desert building this bomb. Like, we all weren't to be trusted. And they were like, you can leave. And so, but then like they have this moment where I think he's like, they have a special relationship, the general
Mhm.
and Oppenheimer, but like it's really sad.
I truly feel, and I could be completely wrong, but from what I know, like the communist witch hunt that was happening at this time was such a waste of time and a waste of resources. And it was literally because people like were more progressive. I mean, I'm sure maybe there was some threat. I don't know, but like what a waste of time.
What a waste of time. And like you just said, he already did the damn thing. Like,
Exactly.
what more do you want from this man? So, Claire, this is kind of like the end of his time. Because he, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, he was a smoker.
Uh,
And he does end up getting throat cancer, which is very quick and painful. So he does die of throat cancer on February 18th, 1967. But before that, he stayed as this director of the Institute of Advanced Study until 1966, where he was always trying to explore new ideas. He was always warning new scientists and physicists of like what powers scientists can have and how to be careful with those powers. Um, he got some Medal of Honor from President Jefferson.
Jefferson?
Jefferson?
I don't think so.
Why does this say President Thomas Jefferson? Oh,
Maybe
wait,
it was
just kidding. No, sorry, let me take this back. Let me take it back. We're all over the place. And he gets a Medal of Honor from being like the director of the Institute of Advanced Study in Science, like I had mentioned. And he referenced former President Jefferson's odes to the brotherly spirit of science. And he says this in one of his last speeches. He says, "We have not, I know, always given evidence of that brotherly spirit. That is not because we lack vital, common, or intersecting scientific interests. It is in part because, with countless other men and women, we are engaged in this great enterprise of our time, testing whether men can both preserve and enlarge life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and live without war as the great arbiter of history."
It's just all so complicated, isn't it? Because it's like, yeah, but also like you created something so destructive. And then it's like, yeah, but they were also doing that same thing. And at least he tried to like put a stop to it. And I'm sure he had the whole thing within himself of if I don't do this, they will find someone else who is going to do this.
Well, yeah, that was very, that was told to him over and over and over. And, people have very different opinions about like the atomic bomb
Hmm.
and if it was necessary. And, many people are like, there's no need that we need something like that. A lot of other people think because now 7 countries have one, it means that we are less likely to have a World War III because nobody, wants to go there because it is so dangerous and scary. Um,
What are the other 7 countries?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm like, that's
Okay,
5.
it's the United States, Russia, China, France, the United Kingdom, India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. This says, oh yeah, there are actually 9 countries with nuclear weapons, not 7. Okay, that's also nuclear weapons. I assume that's
Mm,
atomic bomb, nuclear
yeah.
bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the same. The same thing, and in the movie and this in real life as well, he was, like, always reading he was reading a lot of things. He was really into this, like, Hindu text from the, Bhagavad Gita, and this is what it says, and this is what kinda keeps repeating in his mind until his death, and it translates to, "Now I become death, the destroyer of the worlds."
Oh my God.
And that is Oppenheimer.
After knowing this story, literally no one else could have played him but Cillian Murphy. Because honestly, Oppenheimer and Tommy Shelby, not too dissimilar.
Claire, you need to watch the movie.
I think I'm going to tonight, and then I
Oh,
think I'll do a palate cleanser of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after because dualite.
watch it tonight. You were and like put your phone away,
Yeah.
even though like I'll want to text you during it, but like I love just being in it and like it goes by so quickly, even though it's so long. The score is so good, the acting's so good. You feel so like angry and sad, but also like fascinated. Great. I mean, God, it was one of the best movies I've seen in a long
A-
time.
And guess what? You could take all of that away from watching it on an airplane
Yes,
screen.
I
So,
yes, I could, you little weird film bros. So yeah, you guys, that's his life. That's what he did. That's what he struggled with. God.
I can't imagine being in that position and like living in that time. I mean, we're always saying it is a terrifying time, and it always has been.
It
I'll leave it
always
at that.
literally it always has been. And God, American history is so dark. But yeah, let us know what you think about the creation of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, just bring that up at a dinner.
Yeah,
It
let
is
us
a
know.
discussion piece.
I mean, it definitely is like God.
Wow, well done, Tess. I know
Ah,
that was like a challenge for you, and you did it beautifully. And I mean, wow.
well, thank you. I mean, trying to get that into an hour, I also just wanted it to feel a little bit more conversational. So, of course, if you guys want to learn more, like there is so much more to even dive into, but that's the gist of it.
You
That's
know,
the gist of it.
And that's RAM. Our show is to learn together and to have more of a conversation piece around it. And there's only so much we can do within an hour.
There's only so much we can do, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, I tried to do some old school war history to keep our history gals fed. So, yeah, let us know what you thought and always send feedback and what you want to hear next. And please comment on the Spotify comment section, repost it to your story. We love when you guys do that.
Yes.
Follow us everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube at Right Answers Mostly.
And we love you guys.
And we love you so much. And we will see you guys next Monday for a completely different episode. As always, we keep you on your toes.
That's right. Thank you, Rammies.
Bye, guys.